So now I'd like to introduce Dave Jarrett, the program executive in the NASA Earth Science Division, and I believe you have a few comments.
Yeah, did you want to address how people online should ask questions?
Right, that would be, I would direct that those folks ask their questions in the interactive portion of our activity. So when we get off the stage, we'll have application scientists come up and then we'll have more interaction.
This is Cheryl Johans of NASA Headquarters, Science Mission Directorate. I'm away from the office. Please leave a message and I'll return your call as soon as I can. Thank you.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Well, I believe everything I now say will be recorded on her voicemail. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Goddard Space Flight Center. As Tim said, we are very pleased to be here today as we embark on this journey to establish a long-term, sustainable land imaging program for the nation. This came to us right around the same time or shortly after the successful launch of LDCM, now Landsat 8. Back early this year, the President has given us the challenge to go do this. If you go to the next slide, please. Here is the specific direction that we received in the budget language, in the President's budget release. And this is, NASA will initiate the definition of a sustained space-based global land imaging capability for the nation, ensuring continuity following LDCM. Continuity of the Landsat data archive is a very important asset for this country and is becoming an important asset around the globe as well. As Tim said, we are working in coordination with USGS as we have done over the course of the 40-some-year history of the Landsat program, and we're going to maintain the traditional roles going forward that we've carved out for ourselves going into that program. The focus on the studies is to define the scope, the measurement approaches, cost, and risk of a viable long-term land imaging program that will achieve these national objectives. We're to include all aspects, and Del Genstrom will go into this a little bit later, of looking at a wide spectrum of how we continue this data series and obtain the data for you, the end users. Tim has already touched on that NASA will be responsible for the overall system design, and USGS will bring their expertise to play in the ground systems and data distribution. Next slide, please. Tim, I think you showed this slide. Essentially, the key points here are what we are here today is for USGS to provide their expert analyses, and they represent the consolidated needs and desires of the user community. And that's a very important role as we lay out this architecture, not just what your needs are today and have been, but what they are going forward for the next 2 decades. And again, once NASA designs and implements and gets the satellites or the U.S. government provided space hardware on orbit, we will again turn that over to USGS for operations and data collection and archiving. Next chart, please. Here are our study objectives going forward over the course of this year. We're defining the system for delivering the sustained land imaging, multispectral and thermal infrared imaging information, again, for the next 20 years. We're to provide options which consider various weightings of near-term capability, continuity gap, risk mitigation, technology infusion over the system's lifetime, and of course, cost. We're to consider refined capabilities requested by the user community as part of this effort. That's one of the reasons we're here today. We're to include new measurement approaches, as well as potential international partners and private sector partnerships as well, where we can both benefit from those kinds of cooperation. And it is our deadline of August 15th to provide recommendations back and an implementation plan to the Executive Office of the President so that we will be ready to go and begin implementation of this beginning in next fiscal year. Next chart. Going along with this, we have 3 basic tenets that we've levied on the study team. We need to provide the data products for the long haul. You know, we've been given a budget. We have a budget profile now that goes out through the budget cycle and actually out through the 2020 timeframe. We've been given a budget profile. It's ramps up in the near-term years and then goes out and remains steady state at somewhere between about $120 million a year beginning in the 2018-2019 timeframe, and it stays at that level. So one of the guidelines that we're given the task to Del Genstrom and his team is to provide architectures that fit within that budget profile. And again, we've got to figure out how to incorporate future technology so that we don't have a stagnant program based on today's technology going forward, and we can infuse that appropriately over time. Let's see. What's really important, and we've stated this, Tim stated this, and I'll state this, is to maintain the continuity of the Landsat data record. That is the ultimate goal. It doesn't necessarily mean the imagery per se, but it's the delivery of the final data products to the community that they need to use going forward. And reliability. One of the things we don't want to get into a situation of is where we're relying strictly on one instrument on one spacecraft going forward, and then we have a fragile system. We want to have what we're referring to as functional redundancy, where if we have a NASA satellite or a constellation of small satellites or something like that, that we can have a redundancy at least of the critical data sets that we need over the whole course of the program. Next slide, please. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, we have cost factors that are a serious consideration here. Programmatic stability and achieving that through administration to administration is important, that we live up to our commitments and we deliver, and we expect if we do that, we will maintain the budget that we've been given to work with. Our budget includes the development, launch, and commissioning of the spaceborne assets. The USGS budget includes mission operations, ground systems, data archiving, and distribution. And as we go through the trade-offs here, the architecture study team needs to be aware that we have to factor in the budget constraints of both agencies as we do this. Next chart, please. Where we are today, we've established an architecture study team here within the Earth Systematic Missions Program Office, which is at Goddard Space Flight Center, headed by Tom McCarthy. Del Genstrom is the architecture study team manager. Del comes to us from being deputy project manager on LDCM with a wealth of experience, and he's assembled a team across all of NASA, JPL, the Applied Physics Laboratory, and the Aerospace Corporation, as well as USGS Aeros to help him with this task. In order to help inform what is going on and what our options are, NASA released an RFI back in September. We extended the deadline for responses for that for 2 weeks. Somebody decided to shut the U.S. government down for a little while, which made it difficult for people to finish their proposals. We got 35 responses back, which was very nice to see. A wide range across the entire spectrum of the community, from government, contractors, academia, as well as some foreign respondents. We've asked the architecture study team to both define and then refine the architecture options and present them to both NASA and USGS for review and evaluation throughout this process, and Del will discuss a little bit how they're going to do that. We will come back to the community, both this community and the industry community, back in the March timeframe to show you where we are with the architectures and get your feedback at that time as to what your opinions and thoughts are on what we're getting ready to carry forward. And we will spend the summer putting together the report and the implementation plan to carry this forward. For the people that are dialed in online, would you please mute your telephones? Thank you. Next chart, please. Here's just a snapshot of the timeline going downstream. As I said, we established the architecture study team in September and initiated community outreach at about the same time. We're going to spend from now through March defining and refining the architecture designs through several design cycles. Coming back, as I said, in March to get feedback. We will wrap up the architecture study, or at least Del Genstrom's portion of that, in May. And then we will begin putting the study report together and work with USGS to carry this back to get agency concurrence at both agencies and carry it forward to the White House by August 15th. Next chart, please. Along the way, we are going to use as many opportunities as we can to explain to the community what we're doing and where we are with what we're doing. We've already briefed the Landsat science team, and we're going to get some input from that organization on what we're doing. We asked them some specific questions to address, and they're going to come back and discuss that with us in January, I believe. This week, right here, we're having this users forum. Next week, the National Research Council will be having a town hall discussing the report they had just issued several months ago on the future of land imaging, which fits nicely, or our activity fits very nicely with the conclusions in that report. And then there's several other meetings, I won't go into them, where we'll also have forums or discussions, or at least present the status of where we are at that time. Okay, I think that was it. Next slide.